So Alcaraz, thank God.
Oh yes. Yeah. What a match. What a thrilling match yesterday. Just finally Djokovic has been knocked off his...
It felt like he was choking in the first set. I was really worried.
I think just Djokovic came out in typical Djokovic fashion. He just steamrolled him from the very beginning. He was just suffocating him on with his shots. He was playing so deep. Alcaraz, it looked like didn't know what had hit him, and there was a kind of a sense of, oh no, is this the Roland Garros match all over again? But thankfully he managed to turn it around quite quickly then in that second set, and what a different player.
How did that happen?
In the mind.
Is it?
Yeah, I think.
Like totally, there's no kind of timing issues or technicalities. It's just like pure wake up.
Well, he even actually alluded to that himself. He said that after the match, that he said to himself after the first set, like, come on, Carlos, like, let's put on a better show here. So you could see he improved his serve percentages in the second set. He was applying more pressure on Djokovic's serve. I think he won the first point of Djokovic's serve in every service game in that second set. So that's just applying pressure straight away off the bat to Djokovic, and he was getting into those games. Whereas in the first set, he had one chance to break, I think, in the first set, and then we saw a really close tiebreaker. That tiebreaker was exciting. Djokovic 3-love up in the tiebreaker. He also had a set point, but Alcaraz just seemed to knuckle down and was able to produce the goods, and unbelievable goods at that.
It was a composure, because the lads were saying earlier that he bottled that first set against Djokovic, that maybe playing someone like Djokovic on centre court. Do you think so? Like,
yeah.
But then he gathered it. Composure is probably a good word for Alcaraz, because he gathered himself.
Yeah, it was total battle jab, because the French Open semi-final was very much fresh in his mind. Like, a remarkable comeback, and as Jenny said there, like, Djokovic doesn't lose tie breaks. 15 tie breaks in a row this series won. But like, for you, like, watching it just like from the professional aspect, what did Alcaraz do differently tactically after the first set?
So I think he just settled. Firstly, he settled. Like, there was obviously apparent nerves there, so he settled a little bit more. You could see he started playing with a little bit more conviction in his shot, so there was a bit more belief in what he was doing. Whereas in the first set, like Djokovic has said, was just all over him. He couldn't get into the game. He started to unleash a little bit more with the forehand, and I noticeably he started to come to the net a little bit more in that second set than he had in the first set, and that was a big tactic that worked against Djokovic in yesterday's game. And as we've seen with Alcaraz, he's got such variety in his game. He wasn't able to bring that in the first set, and we just saw a little bit more of the drop shots on that, as I said, coming into the net was a bit of a difference.
What's Alcaraz's weak point in his game?
Oh God,
it's hard to find one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Djokovic alluded to afterwards, that he seems to have the best of strengths of the former big three, i.e. himself, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. Seems to have the best aspects of everyone's game, the mental strength and the shot variety. But there surely has to be a weakness. I mean, everyone has a weakness, but it's hard to find his.
Yeah, thinking about, like, I remember
20 years of age as well.
Looking back last year at the US Open, like, his return of serve was something that they were saying he could probably improve on a little bit more. It's hard to fault that yesterday. Shot decisions some of the times, like, obviously he's just got this incredible touch in his drop shots, and sometimes he makes the wrong decision, but I mean, it seems he made the right decision a little bit more often than not.
It felt a little bit like he was over anxious at times to try and finish the point, when actually he's got control of this, and it looked like he was wearing Djokovic down, which I've never seen.
Yeah.
Even after the toilet break. It was amazing. It was like an incredible tactical, technical, physical performance from a 20-year-old to overcome. I think he totally choked in the first set as well. Why was Djokovic not able to, like, then just kill him? Because we've seen, from a winning position, Djokovic is a cold, hard assassin, and for whatever reason he started to doubt himself against Alcaraz yesterday.
Yeah, it's just that it's so unrelenting, the pressure from Alcaraz. Like, he just doesn't let up. It's just like Djokovic playing Djokovic. There was no let up, and I think Djokovic felt that. Throughout that second set, as Alcaraz started to find his form, Djokovic knew, like, that he had to make every ball. Like, he was under pressure, which we don't see that often. Djokovic always backs himself in those situations, like a tiebreaker, as we said, like 3-love up. You're going, oh, surely this is Djokovic's match to win. But he knew that the pressure was always there. Like, Alcaraz was making those returns. He was hitting his serve faster than he had in any other match in Wimbledon, in any of the previous rounds. He was serving harder, so he was throwing everything at Djokovic, and you could obviously see he was feeling that, and the frustration showed with Djokovic as well, as we saw in the fifth set when he broke a racket. Like, his composure kind of started to drop as well. You could see he was feeling the nerves, or the pressure, I mean.
Do you think that Djokovic played to his maximum level here? He looked a bit tired to me. He looked a bit flat actually at times.
Yeah, maybe not the Djokovic that we've seen of earlier years, but I mean, he is 36, but again, it comes back to Alcaraz and the pressure that he was applying and the amount of court coverage Djokovic had to do. Obviously, he was wearing him down, and the drop shots, he was taking Djokovic off the baseline, which is where he's so comfortable and where he dominates everybody is on that baseline. So Alcaraz, with that variety of drop shots, was taking him out of his rhythm of moving side to side, which he's just unbelievably good at, making him, move forward, lobbing. He was just making him cover the whole court and taking him out of his rhythm on that baseline.
I still can't believe it's only Alcaraz's 4th ever tournament on grass, which just doesn't make sense in my head. But can he now go on to dominate on grass?
If you asked me that before Wimbledon, I wouldn't have said yes. I mean, it's crazy to think that he's won the US Open on hard court, he's won grass court in Wimbledon, and he hasn't won the French Open on clay, which is supposed to be his best surface. I think he can go on and do incredible things now. I think hopefully this will be a rivalry for however long Djokovic lasts in the game, but it is great to see, as we hear over the changing of the guard finally, and for Alcaraz to do this in Wimbledon against Djokovic is a big statement, for the future of the men's game.
The umpires from Dublin, Fergus Murphy, involved at Wimbledon for 28 years, but his first final. How do you think he got on?
I thought he actually did great. Yeah, he was brilliant. I'm delighted to see Fergus in the chair there in the final yesterday. I know Fergus from the tennis game, but well earned stripe for him, to get that recognition of 28 years. A long time coming.
Do you think he should have called the time violation earlier than he did? The second set tiebreak, I think he eventually called it.
Yeah,
taking a long time.
He was, that ball bouncing and the toss, and that's nerves and pressure as well. I know it was windy, but I do think he was using that to his advantage.
Oh, it's total gamesmanship.
Yeah,
he knows exactly what he's doing. But he did call it. Can I ask a question? I thought when you get your second violation, that's the point deduction. Is it not?
I also thought that as well. I was wondering he got 2.
Yeah.
I was like, that's normally a point. But I actually, to be honest,
is there a difference between a time and a bracket?
Yeah, they're different, aren't they?
I think they get. The time violation.
Categories.
Apologies.
Okay.
There's a loophole between first and second serves, isn't there? I don't think the clock.
They don't count.
They don't count the clock in between the two. No.
And he was definitely taking advantage there of the
in between. Yeah. But he was arguing. You'd see even the way he was carrying on, was that arguing with the ref over the time violation. He as you said, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was all in an effort. That 7.5 minute time toilet break after the second set was just after the third set, it was just a joke.
Well, Nick Kyrgios approved of Fergus Murphy's display on Twitter. Fergus Murphy thumbs up. Nick Kyrgios is saying fair play. It's the ultimate compliment.
He likes all the Irish lads, Nick Kyrgios.
Never mind.
The difference, I'm just looking at the stats. Over the course of the 5 sets, Alcaraz won 2 more points than Djokovic, and they won the same number of games. That's how close this was, really. It could absolutely have gone either way, which does immediately catapult it into all-time classic. The greatest tennis player of all time being beaten by a 20-year-old in Wimbledon centre court in a 4.5-hour match. It was, if anybody missed it, go back and watch it. This is all-time great stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely worth the watch. It was a thrilling match, but it kind of ebbed and flowed. If you look at the scoreline, 6-1 to Djokovic, and then 7-6. That second set was so tight. The third set, we had that 26-minute game in the third set, which that was unbelievable. The tennis in that game, and that set the tone then for the rest of the third set. I think Djokovic almost not quite tanked, but he started just serving and volleying and wasn't. He kind of was maybe conserving energy for that fourth set, and then he had that tactical timeout there, which then changed, I think, altered the momentum of the fourth set. And then that fifth set, Alcaraz was steely. Alcaraz was what we would call say Djokovic was he was just unbelievable with his return game. I thought he didn't return as well, but he served incredibly well. That last service game at 5-4, serving for the championship, against Djokovic, he made 6 out of 6 first serves. That's incredible. And Djokovic made 5 out of 6 returns. So he knuckled down, and you could almost feel Djokovic was okay, I'm still here. I'm going to break you. There's no way you're going to serve for this. Serve it out. And he really held his nerve. It was just incredible. The match just ebbed and flowed back and forth. You never can count Djokovic out, but I really didn't. I'm still in shock that Alcaraz won that match.
I totally because Djokovic made 2 unforced errors in the first set. 2. He made 13 in the second. But he had as you say, set point in that second set tiebreak, and 2 backhands into the net. like two easy backhands for him. Like, I don't know what was up with him, but like after the match anyway, like everyone was saying, this is the start of a new era now, Carlos Alcaraz. But a new era suggests more than one player at least. For me, it seems like it's now going to be, once Djokovic eventually retires, and I think Nadal's last year is next year, is it really going to be Alcaraz and the rest?
Well, we'll see.
Like, who else is going, for you, who else is actually going to challenge Alcaraz?
Yeah, well, I think if Djokovic is going to retire in the next few years, like Alcaraz, we're going to see Alcaraz dominance over the next maybe 3 to 5 years, and in that time that's going to drag up the players below. Like, that will raise their level because they're going to have to try and figure out a way to beat him. But there's going to be a period of dominance now for Alcaraz, I see, over the next 3 years, definitely. But I mean, we've been talking about the next gen for the last 5 to 8 years, you know. Zverev, Tsitsipas, Rublev, like these, Medvedev, and they just, Medvedev, okay, yeah, he's won a Grand Slam at least, but it's like it just hasn't happened. So is there a new wave like Holger Rune? You know, those younger guys that will they surpass the Tsitsipas and Zverev? I think those guys, their moment might be past. And Sinner,
Djokovic won't want Brad Pitt any more of his matches. He was at the US Open final in 2021 when Djokovic was going for the calendar slam against Medvedev when Djokovic lost in straight sets. He was there too.
Hugh Jackman yesterday was there as a guest, Djokovic.
Saw that.
Say that again.
Hugh Jackman was one of his guests.
Was Djokovic? Okay.
Yeah, afterwards Alcaraz shook his hand and Djokovic's wife's hand too. They were with each other.
He's a class act though, Alcaraz, and it's just
his speech was fantastic, wasn't it?
It's brilliant. He's just, I mean, he's only 20 and he just seems so mature on and off the court. He's definitely a true champion and somebody to watch now for the next 10-12 years.
We were talking about the women's earlier on, and Colin was giving no credit to the winner, saying that it was all Ons Jabeur's doing that she lost.
Harsh. Well, firm but fair probably on that one, I'd say. Like, you have to give Vondrousova, you know, her due for winning. I mean, it was a Grand Slam, Wimbledon Grand Slam final, like the biggest stage. She still had to perform to a certain degree, although it was Jabeur's crumbling that was just painful to watch. It was tough viewing.
I was saying to you there outside, Jenny, I was thinking it's going to be the answer to a quiz question 5 to 10 years time. Who won the women's 2023 Wimbledon title? And I have a feeling that most people in that pub will think of Ons Jabeur because the narrative is so dominant around her. But Marketa Vondrousova is kind of going under the radar, like 24 years of age, her second slam final and her first win. Like I was saying earlier to Jaron Shane that I think Vondrousova is nothing more than a good player. But what do you think, seeing her game?
She's a talented player. She's a bit quite like Jabuer, like the way that they play and like that kind of crafty, can use variety to mix up the play. Unlike the top three that we've been talking about, Świątek and Sabalenka and Rebecca, who hit the ball with so much brute force and power. Vondrousova seems to have a little bit more like style and variety, but I don't think she's even as good as Jabuer on a very good day. However, if you look back, Vondrousova beat Jabuer in Australian Open this year and in the Indian Wells, so there was history there between the two, but this was Jabuer's match to win. And like, I mean, Vondrousova, you can't say she just had to put the ball in the court. She did play tactically well. She played a different game to what Jabuer had played in the 3 previous rounds. You know, she was playing with heavy topspin. She was drop shotting Jabuer, but Jabuer made so many. She made 3 times the amount of unforced errors than Vondrousova.
This is the time to remind everyone that Jenny Claffey did beat Ons Jabeur 6-love. Now 3-time Grand Slam finalist Ons Jabeur. Jabeur said afterwards on the court, like, amid all her tears, which is totally understandable, and like, it's been horrible last year for her in that way. She said, "I promise I'll be back, and I promise I'll win this tournament." Do you think she will?
You want to think that she's going to be able to overcome 3 Grand Slam final losses. This one will probably, she said, but probably will be the toughest to take, because this was the one where we all felt she was the favourite, and she obviously felt that herself with the way that she performed, with so much pressure and the weight of the world on her shoulders. But I fear for her that she may not overcome this. As I said, like, I'd love for her to finally win one, and what that would do for her and for the Arab, like all the countries and Africa, and putting them on the map. Although she's already done that, I just fear that will she? Can she come back from this? Not just from this, but just can she push on now and improve and win A title. If you asked me that before the final, I would have said yes, definitely. This was Wimbledon, was hers. She'd beaten Kvitova, she'd beaten Rybakina, she'd beat Sabalenka, come back from those matches where she was down and showed great character, great strength, and then just fell apart.
Last week on the show we had a big debate that took off the best GA players never to win an All-Ireland. Like, she could be
that.
The front runner of the best player never to win a slam. Like, she's still, I think, 27. Like, she's more than enough time. She's probably the most gifted player on the tour, is she? On her day,
definitely the most talented, with the most variety, definitely. That, and can play any types of shots from anywhere on the court. She can play with power, she can play with spin, she can play with all the slice. She mixes up her game. Like, she has it all. But what comes down is what's between the 2 ears. You know, can she, in those big moments like the finals, can she win? It happened last year's final against Rybakina as well. She won the first set and then just didn't, you know, keep the chokehold on her opponent. And in the final on Saturday, you know, she was 3-1 up in both sets, and once she got ahead, it's almost like that's when she just fell apart. So she was better when it was closer, and then once she got the lead, she just crumbled. Like, she was making such uncharacteristic errors, like unforced errors, and Vondrousova only had 10 winners in the match, but that's like, and Jabuer hit, as I said, 3 times the amount of.
So you don't think that this is going to be the birth of Vondrousova being a top 5 player for the next couple of seasons at this? Because I was making the point that she obviously was really good as a 19-year-old to be able to reach the French Open final, and then injuries and COVID and everything happens, and she's had surgery on both wrists, I think, or certainly.
Definitely she's on the left when she was there last year as a spectator with the
like, is there a possibility that that's just been stunted and now she does become somebody who uses the array that she has against the power hitters? You
know, I'm afraid to say that about any players. Like, you know, the hype that goes around, they've won one Grand Slam. Like, I don't know if you remember Krejcikova, who won like the Roland Garros there 2 years ago in singles and doubles, and we thought, she's the next. And then Raducanu won the US Open, and she was the next big thing. Now Vondrousova, she's
at least a bit older at 24 and maybe able to deal with this.
Yeah, the pressures and what comes with being a Wimbledon champion. Well, she obviously was able to manage the pressure of playing in a Wimbledon final. Yes, she'd been there in Roland Garros. You know, she's used to that, being that stage of a tournament. That's the hardest part, is getting over that line. But I don't know. Does she have? Yeah,
she's a marked woman now. That's the thing. She came in under the radar completely here in Jabuer. It'll be interesting to see that
first
transition.
unseeded player to win Wimbledon in the open era.
Yeah, which is incredible. But she didn't play like an unseeded player. You know, like
she played very free.
Got enough quality there, but I'm not sure about the star quality. Camille, you weren't content with analysing the 2 Wimbledon finals over the weekend. You had your own success.
I was involved in an All-Ireland final in football and soccer with my club, Ternier Rangers. Yeah,
it's not fair.
We are the champions.
Oh, you won. Right. Congratulations.
Yeah, so it was awesome.
Some people have it all, like, you know. It's not fair.
Where do you play?
I play for Ternier Rangers up in Bushy Park.
Oh, what position?
Oh, left wing.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
You left-footed?
Left-footed, yeah.
You left-handed?
No, right-handed.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe that's where the secret lies, you know.
What hand do you play paddle with?
A mix between the both. If I'm playing Colm, I'll play left-handed. If I'm playing for Ireland, I'll play right-handed.
Very good. And are you going to the Olympics? What's the crack? How does that work?
Yeah, so with paddle, for next year in Paris, it's not officially a sport, but they are there's talk about like doing another like showcase event of paddle. So I could potentially be going to the Olympics, but not winning a medal. But let's see. Anyway, maybe 2028 in LA, it'll be in the Olympics, and we'll see where my paddle career goes.
Right. Okay. It's sickening, isn't it?
Tough the top.
Yeah, Jesus, well done. Right, we must talk to you about the paddle again properly, because I haven't chatted to you about it, but it's an incredible explosion in the popularity of the sport.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's the fastest growing sport in the world at the moment. It's taken off here. It's just and it's taken off in Ireland, but we just don't have enough courts for the demand that's there. So by the end of the year, we'll have double the amount of courts there. So it should be 50 paddle courts.
Sorry, I know we're way over time. It has to be doubles, is it? Paddle.
Doubles has, yeah. So it'll always be doubles.
So you and me versus.
Oh, now we're on the same side. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Up in Bushy Park. Let's do it.
You get the Olympian / yeah. That doesn't sound right.
That sounds fair.
Yeah. Adrian's all talk. We'll see what happens.
All right.